Hey coders, welcome to the channel. So in the previous video we have seen that how can we make the Akinator game using Python, and today we are going to make that game using Java. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So now let's see that how our Akinator app will work. So the most important thing in our Akinator program will be a database. So this will be our database, and this database will contain the information about characters, their names and their properties. So what our program will do? It will ask a predefined question from the user, and that question will be in form of yes or no. So let's assume that the user has answered yes for this particular question. We don't know the question. So what our program will do? So based on this question and this user's answer, it will filter out some characters from this database. So it will filter out some characters from this database based on the question and the answer by the user. And now what it will do, it will again ask a question from the user, which will again be in the form of yes and no. And now let's say that this time the user answered no. So what this will do, so this will again filter the characters that which are already filtered by this question, and it will filter them based on the second question asked and the answer given by the user. And now what this program will do, it will again ask a question, and this question will also be in the form of yes and no. And let's say the user has answered yes. So again, based on this information, the question and the answer by the user, this program will filter out the characters from this database, and our program will continue this question and filtering until there is only one character left in our database, and in this case only one character is left in our database. So in the case that there is only one character left, so what our program will do, it will stop asking the questions and it will tell that your character is, and it will fetch the name from this character's properties and it will write the name here. In this way our Akinator app will work. So now let's make our Akinator game. So we have this Akinator class, and let's make a main method. So public static void main, and then string args, and now we have this main method. So the most important thing in the Akinator game is a database. So we will define a database and we will define individual characters and then add up that to a database. So let's define, and our characters will be hash map. So let's find hash map and character 1. So we will make the name c1 equals new hash map, and so this is our one character, and this hash map will contain the property of this character. So let's add the properties. So the first property will be c1 dot put will be name. So the name of our character is let's say Iron Man. So this will be our first character, and now let's add the second property of the character, c1 dot put, and the second property will be human, means is the character human, and the answer will be in form of true and false. So we will say true, and the third property will be c1 dot put and YouTuber, means the character YouTuber, and the answer to this will be false. Keep in mind that all the properties except the name property will be in the form of true and false. Uh, so now let's add more properties to our character. So we are using these true and false statement again and again. So what we can do, we can define a variable for them. So let's say boolean y equals true and boolean n equals false. So this y means yes and this n means no. So instead of writing true and false, we will write y and n. So instead of true, we will write y, false. So these are the properties of our character. So for ease of understanding, let's add them to a single line. So now all the properties of the character are in a single line. So we have name, and then we have human, we have YouTuber, we have movie, and then we have original, we have inventor, and then we have Indian. So let's define one more character, and I have already defined my all the characters. So let me copy paste that here. So these are our characters. So we have 6 characters, and these characters are Iron Man, Einstein, Carrie Minati, PewDiePie, Nemo, Narendra Modi. So we have these 6 characters and their properties. All the properties of the characters are same, and the answers are based on the properties of the character. So let's add these all 6 characters to a database. So our database will be a array list. So let's say array list. Let's name this array list database equals new array list, and we will add all these characters to our database. So let's say so we have this array list which is a database. So now what we will do, we will ask questions from the user. So let's ask a question. So for that we will have to import the scanner class. So let's say scanner sc is equals to new scanner, and here we will give system.in and add a semicolon here. So now first we will print the question to the user. So we will system.out.print, and we will say is your character human, and then we will ask the question sc, not sc, ans, not ans also, int, ans equals sc dot next int. So we will take an integer input from the user. So this answer will be in the form of 1 and 2. So if the user has entered 1, means it is true, and if the user has entered 1, means it is true, and in case the user has entered 2, means the answer by the user is false. So so now we will make a method. So let's name that method uh, take input, and this method will take an argument ans, integer argument, and then it will take a string property argument for which we are asking the question. So we are asking the question for this human property of our characters. So we will say human here, and it will take one more argument which is our database. So let's pass database here, and now first we will define our method. So let's define our method. Let's define it after this main method. So we will say public static void take input, and this will take integer argument ans answer, and string argument property, and one more argument uh, array list database. So this is our, and add a semicolon there where we have calling this method. So what this method will do, this method will check that if that the answer that we have taken from the user is matching with the property of all our characters, and if some of the characters are not matching with the answer of the user as we have seen in the explanation part of the video, then this will remove that character from our database. So let's define this method. So first, what we will do, the answer is in form of 1 and 2, so we will convert that in form of true and false. So let's say if answer equal 1, then answer, not answer. Let's first define our second variable ans, boolean ans. And now let's initialize the value of ans. Ans will be true, and if the user has entered any other number other than 1, then the ans variable will be false. And now we have converted our answer into boolean. And now what we will do, we will iterate over this database which we had passed here, and calling this method. So we'll say for d, not d, it's object d in database. So this will iterate over this database and take these hash tables in form of object. So first we will have to convert this object in hash table. So let's say um, let's name that variable hash map character equals hash map, and then d. It's given an error. Oh, we have used char, so let's use character. So now it's perfect. And now what we will do, we will check if the character we have got in each iteration of this database, if character dot get, and we will put this property in this key argument. So let's say property, if character's property is not equal to the answer that the user has given, and after converting that in true and false, so this will be ans. So in that case, let's add brackets here. Okay, so this is given an error because this character dot get property is giving an object. So let's cast that object into a boolean value. So let's say boolean, uh, let's say prop equals, let's copy this here, character dot get property, control C, and paste this here. And now let's cast this to boolean and add a semicolon here. And now instead of this we will call this prop method. And if our character is not matching with the answer by the user, then let me define one more variable, and this variable will be array list, and this name will be to remove equals new array list. So if the character is not matching, so what we will do, we will add that character to this to remove array list. So let's add to remove dot add, and we will add this d character. So not this d, we will add this hash map character. So let's add character. And after all the characters have been iterated, so what we will do, we will iterate over this to remove array list. So we will say for to remove, oh, it's also giving an object, so we have to convert this in object. And Now inside this for loop, what we will do, we will have to remove all the characters in this to remove list from this database. So we will do this in this way. So first we will cast this ch to hash map. So let's say, so this is giving us the hash map value of the ch. Now what we will do, we will remove this cha from our database. So let's say database dot remove, and it takes object, so we will not cast that. So it takes object, and let's pass ch here. So this will remove that character from our database. So now what we will do, after all the characters have been removed based on their properties, what we will do, we will check if uh, the length of our database, we will check if database dot size, means if the size of the database equals 1, means if there is only one character left in our database. So in that case what we will do, we will print that character. So we will say, first we will fetch the name of the character. So string name equals database dot get 0, and this will give the first character. Instead of this string name, what we will do, character, not character, hash map character equals this database dot get, copy and paste that here, and let's cast this into hash map, and let's remove this statement here. So it is giving us the characters. So let's fetch the name of this character. So we will say character dot get, and in this place of key we will say name. So it's again giving us an error, provided object, and we have to convert this into string. So let's say string, and now it's not giving us an error, so we will print this name. So we will say south name, not name, your character is, and then plus the name of the character, and after that we will quit out of our Java code. So we will say system.exit, and it is set as 0. So our this method is complete. And now let's minimize this method. So instead of asking or and storing this answer of the user in this ans variable, what we can do, we can pass this statement. Let's control X instead of this ans. So let's say paste, and let's remove this here from here. And now we are asking only one question from the user, so we will ask more questions from the user. And I have already defined my questions, and you can define any questions based on the properties of the character. So let me copy paste my questions here. So these are my questions. So the first question is your character human, and we are passing the human property here. And the next character is or the next question is YouTuber, and we are passing YouTuber here. And the next is in a movie, is your character in a movie, and then we are passing movie, and the same for all these questions. So now our code is complete. So now let's zoom it out a bit. So this is our database, and here we are asking the questions, and we are giving the answer, the property, and the database to our this method. And this method, what this method is doing, this method is removing the characters from the database which are not matching from the answers of the user. So now let's run the code. Right click, run akinator.main. So it is asking that is your character a human. So we have already discussed that 1 is for true and 2 is for false. So let's say, let's try for Einstein. So is your character human? So yes, my character is human, so let's say 1. And is your character YouTuber? No. Is your character in a movie? No. Is your character original? Yes. Is your character inventor? Yes. And it says your character is Einstein. So our code is working. So yeah, in this way our Akinator game works. So let's try for one more character. And now let's try for PewDiePie. So is your character human? Yeah, yes. Is your character YouTuber? Yes. Is your character in a movie? No. Is your character original? Yes. Is your character inventor? No. Is your character Indian? No. And it says your character is PewDiePie, and it works. So now let me tell you a thing. If there is only one character in our database that is not human, and that is Nemo, so when we will say no here, so it will quickly print your character is Nemo, because it will take only that much information which is necessary to guess the character, and here only the human property is enough to guess that your character is Nemo. So in this way our code works. So if you enjoyed today's video, then don't forget to like the video, and to get notified for this kind of interesting content regularly, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching the video.